side going to it. So that's where our alveoli are located. The rest of the lung picture is pretty straightforward. It's the different lobes and the different bronchi. This picture is concentrating on the bronchi. Now it does point to the carina. It's in that last ring of the trachea that splits. It looks like it's wearing a pair of underwear. Okay. The bulge would be where the carina is located. Now, even though they're pointing to it, it's an internal projection, so you can't actually see it from the outside. It just projects on the inside. So if something touches it, whether it's mucus or something you've eaten, it's going to cause you to start coughing violently to push whatever it is up and out of the trachea. So that's going to be a big guide to help us with the cough reflex to keep things from getting to the lungs. So it's our last little protective mechanism to try to prevent that. So again, the carina is up on the board. The figure 36.4, we saw this picture in lecture, so it's a great lecture picture, but we're not going to concern ourselves with it for lab purposes. Okay. Now it does show you the cells that are secreting surfactant. So again, surfactant is that mixture of phospholipids, lipoproteins that coats the inside of the alveoli that prevents them from collapsing. Okay, so again, that's that stuff that keeps you from a lung collapse and all that kind of jazz. Figure 36.5, picture C is a weird cross section which we won't concern ourselves with. Picture B is a real lung, which we don't care about. So what we care about is picture A. Again, a guy that's slightly happy to be there with his lungs. Honestly, they could have combined this picture with the previous lung picture because most of the stuff they pointed on the previous, they also point to here. So this again would be the lung model. So there's three models for the respiratory system: the at the head model, the larynx model, and the lung model. Now, when looking at it again, as we've learned in lecture, the left lung has only 2 lobes, while the right lung has 3. So both sides will have the oblique fissure to separate the lobes, but the right side is the only one that has the horizontal fissure. So it's got 2 fissures because it has 3 lobes to separate. So the horizontal is going to separate the superior lobe and the middle lobe, and the oblique fissure separates the middle lobe and the inferior lobe. Where on the left side, we just have 2, so we just have that one oblique fissure separating the superior and inferior lobe. Picture 36.6 is the slide, and you know how I feel about slides. You can ignore that one. Activity 2, we're not doing. You're supposed to get sheep pluck, which you would get from a butcher and or meat packing plant, and play with it. So sheep pluck is just the trachea with the lungs attached, so you can pump air in and out of them. We're not going to do that because it's actually illegal to purchase lung tissue because disease can pass so quickly. That's why you can't actually have real haggis in the United States, because real haggis is made out of lungs and stomach of sheep, and they are highly infective. So they don't sell lung tissue in the meat market. So when you have haggis in the United States, it's usually made out of ground sheep skeletal muscle instead of weird, nasty organs like you would have in Scotland. I'm going to guess that's why Scottish people can be so angry. That and the oppression of English. But their state meal is sheep's stomach stuffed with lungs and barley. Disgusting. So we're not going to do activity 2. We're not going to mess with real lungs.
Okay. Yeah.
Figure 36.7. Look at that. More slides. You know how I feel about that. So exercise 37 is the physiology of the respiratory system. So activity 1, operating a lung model. So what we're going to do for our bonus quiz tomorrow is build lung models. Okay, so we're going to make a lung model out of your Coca-Cola bottle. So that's why you need to bring an empty 20-ish ounce bottle of plastic. So it could be Coke, it could be Dr. Pepper, whatever your beverage is. Please do not use water. The bottle is, the thinner it is, and it will not work right. If you play with water bottles, you just look at it wrong and you create a little bubble. We need some stability. So that's why I usually say Coke bottles. Ironically, Dr. Pepper bottles are more recycled, so they are thinner than Coke bottles, so they suck more. Really good ones are Gatorade and Powerades. They have very thick plastic bottles because the contents need to have thicker plastic, but you don't have to. You just have to use it together. So bring your bottles tomorrow. Well, I'll bring the balloons, and we'll make some lung models, and then you can play with activity one and practice breathing and introduce pneumothorax or pneumonia or whatever you want to do.
That sounds fun.
37.1 is just showing you the positions of those muscles when we breathe in and when we breathe out. So we just covered that in lecture today. Respiratory sounds, again, we still have stethoscopes if you can listen to people's lungs. And then 37.2 is showing you those respiratory volumes. So we can see on picture A, the graph that you have, the tidal volume, the expiratory, the inspiratory reserve volumes, all that fun jazz. And it gives you the number. So there's your inspiratory reserve volume at 3,100, your tidal volume at 500, your expiratory at 1,200. Those are averages. Residual 1,200 averages. The math problem is in picture B. The black and white bars, vital capacity is the second math problem there. So it gives you the average vital capacity, and then the math problem, vital capacity equals tidal volume plus ERV plus IRV. So again, we'll need to know this for test 3. You're going to need to know this for practical. So we give you 3 out of 4 long numbers, and you can tell me what the 4th one is, and is it average, above average, below average? Yes, scenario. So in order to figure out lung capacity, you have to use a spirometer. Now there's different types of spirometers. Figure 37.3 shows you one type of dry spirometer. We do have spirometers in the lab if you want to play with them. Our spirometer looks like the one that's on page 543, where you kind of blow into it. If you want to play with them, you can. They are optional, because again, all human testing is optional. I would highly suggest that if you're using them, they're just there for flow purposes to figure out your expiratory reserve volume. Don't suck on them. They've never been cleaned. So don't suck on anything to find it lab.
Disgusting.
But again, it would be just like any of the other tools. I could go, what is this? And you say, oh, that's a spirometer. What would I use this for? I would use that to figure the expiratory reserve volume.
Yeah, the volume.
That kind of scenario. Figure 37.4 shows you wet spirometers. And even though
These
those
are
pictures
weird.
look like they're from the late 90s, they're actually current use machines. They just decided, let's not make them look weird. Wet spirometers are more detailed and accurate than dry spirometers, just like if you're finding percentage of body fat, measuring fluids and stuff is easier than just pinching inches. We don't have any wet spirometers because, again, they're expensive. The rest of the chapter we don't care about.
Oh, answered my question.
So we just have to be able to identify spirometers, how to use them, vital capacity, math problems, and breathing. Just spirometers.
The end.
No. So she said he's gonna do up some ones?
Tomorrow, I
About
thought.
36 and 37.
No. It's pretty straightforward.
Looking at our lovely little gentleman, Victor.
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 Alright, so again, we see our lungs and our tracheal system starting up there by the larynx. So this whole area would be our larynx, and we have the epiglottis, the thyroid cartilage with its laryngeal prominence, the cricoid cartilage. It's pointing to the original, but you can't see it because it's all fat. And of course, we've got the trachea. There's the heart nestled in there. So we've got the left lung and the right lung. So we've got the superior lobe of the right lung, the middle lobe of the right lung, the inferior lobe of the right lung. There's the oblique fissure. There's the horizontal fissure. Left lung, again, the superior lobe of the left lung and the inferior lobe of the left lung and the oblique fissure on this side. Of course, the pointy end of the lungs are the apex. The wide end of the lungs is going to be the base. The diaphragm would be sitting there. I just didn't include it because I didn't. There it is, giving you the fade shot so you can see the different ranges. So again, we've got the trachea coming down, and we have the branch between the right primary bronchus and the left primary bronchus. And then our right primary bronchus again separates into 3 secondary. So we have the superior superior secondary bronchi. Again, the middle secondary bronchi, the inferior secondary bronchi. The left only has two lobes, so two of the secondary, so the superior and the inferior secondary bronchi of the left lung. And again, secondary can also be called lobar. Then they will branch into the tertiaries, and then from there they'll go to the terminals to distribute to the alveoli. There's just without the lungs, so you can see it neglect. So again, we've got the larynx, epiglottis, thyroid cartilage, laryngeal prominence, cricoid cartilage, the trachea, right primary bronchus, left primary bronchus, right secondary bronchi, left secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, terminal bronchi. There's our back shot, so in epiglottis, we can see the arytenoid cartilages back here, thyroid cartilage, cricoid cartilage in the trachea, and as we talked about in lecture, those C-shaped cartilage rings open to the back. So the esophagus would be sitting right there, kind of nestled. And then of course we have the splits going down with our right primary bronchus and our left primary bronchus. Oh, that's next time. Big bad hairy questions about the rest of the So today we introduce, and again we'll continue tomorrow, the bonus quiz again will be the Coke bottle activity and questions regarding that. There's a half a head bonus that will be due on Wednesday, and of course tomorrow the respiratory list will be due. The nice thing is the respiratory list is kind of a twofer because it's going to help you on practical 3, but we are also covering all that same stuff in the lecture. So we kind of caught up with the lecture material and then we'll bypass it again. And don't forget, if you have not completed your common assessment stuff, you should do that someday. Respiratory list, digestive list, and practical 3 bonus, as mentioned, is just half a head. So you're labeling and coloring the structures on your half a head. Now, for whatever reason, sometimes people have problems bringing this up, and I don't know why. It's a Blackboard problem, because every time I delete and upload this file, I'll still have students that say, I can't see it, it doesn't come up. If you're one of those few people that can't see it, you can always click the download and it hopefully will download it for you, and then you can print it that way, or find a friend who can see it and print it that way. So, if you come and ask me, how come I can't see the half a head? I'm like, I don't know, talk to IT. This is something that has plagued Blackboard since the creation of Blackboard. It hates this file. So if I can see it from my end, I can't fix it. So this guy, label and coloring fun, due on Wednesday. This one's worth 2 points on practical. And then of course we'll have the list giving us a total. And then of course on Wednesday we'll also have with 6 on the respiratory, which we'll already be studying a whole bunch more anyway because of digestive stuff starting on Thursday. Continuing on definition list on Thursday, both on Thursday. Your pre-practical 3 closes Monday night. So you have plenty of time to do that, guys. Monday will be quiz 7, and we'll go spend some quality time with Victor downstairs. And then on Tuesday will be practical.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
2 practicals, 4 weeks. We can do it.
Yes.
We only have one more practical.
Make that
We
here.
only have 2 more practicals.
Oh, and we have
Models are over there, tracheas are on top.
I think 5 is our
And the
final.
lungs are in the second.
5 is our final.
People try to start
Below
getting
the
on.
Seems like you had a fun weekend, Abby. Okay, girl. My mom would beat my ass. She was like, yourself, Nikki. Look, I know you get them. Like, but if you're ever visible, you better not show up to my house with them. God, I live here. Where do you want me to go?
Which one are we going first?
I
Oh,
don't know. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna see if I can label them by looking at the picture. Where do you have your cigarette? This is our phone.
The lungs, bruh.
Get a cost $1. Can I do that?
Could I do a dance instead?
Is this the AP Pilates right here?
Oh no, we're gonna have to go over this.
No, it is.
Oh, let's make her do some videos.
Miss Love.
See,
She does like
I'm about to bust out 3 in a row, bro.
We need you for 3 of them.
It's like a cat toy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we were talking about.
And this one will to you as well.
Oh.
I'm sure they paid extra for that.
What? Oh my lips. Inhale, exhale.
All right, we ready?
Yes.
All right, so larynx, we have the hyoid, we have the thyroid cartilage, the laryngeal prominence, the cricoid cartilage, the trachea. Again, hyoid, epiglottis, corniculate cartilages, arytenoid cartilages, the glottis, and again, the arytenoid, and he moves it so we can have vocal changes. Then we've got the cricoid cartilage and the trachea.
Can you point?
The glottis is,
What are the 2 pointies
and that's
again?
the adrenothyroid too.
So these are the corniculate cartilages, kind of like cornucopia is a triangle shape, and these are the arytenoid.
Oh yeah, originally one right.
And then this one?
Yes, we need you for this one. You guys know the long one.
Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Yes.
So we got our lung model. Again, we've got the larynx, which we have a model for. We've got the lungs, apex of the lungs, the base of the lungs. We've got the superior lobe of the right lung, the middle lobe of the right lung, the inferior lobe of the right lung, superior lobe of the left lung, inferior lobe of the left lung, the oblique fissure, horizontal fissure only on the right side, diaphragm. Oh, his handle's off. Oh, my stick. So thyroid, or excuse me, the trachea, the right primary bronchus, the left primary bronchus, the left secondary bronchi, the right secondary bronchi, the tertiary bronchi, the terminal bronchioles.
Yeah. And then it's that.
And the
Oh, the head wall.
last one here.
The heart's just sitting in there.
Alright.
If I'm in the way, I'm watching your stuff.
And then I'm sure they paid extra for this. This one swallows. You ready?
Let's go.
Half a head, the external nares, the nasal cavity, the superior nasal concha, middle nasal concha, inferior nasal concha, frontal sinus, sphenoid sinus, ethmoid sinus, the nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngeal pharynx, the opening to the eustachian tube, the lips, the vestibule, the oral cavity, hard palate, soft palate, uvula, tongue, the pharyngeal tonsil, the palatine tonsil, the lingual tonsil, tongue, hyoid bone, epiglottis, the larynx, the trachea, the esophagus.
I have no teeth.
That one's a little hard.
Well, I guess that front one, that's
Okay. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's plenty.
Plenty. Nice. Yo, we just did all